Today, the beverage aisle looks a lot different than it used to. America's beverage companies are working together. We're delivering the options everyone wants. In fact, nearly 60% of beverages Americans buy have zero sugar. You'll find more variety than ever, including more of your favorites, now available with zero sugar. You'll also find more sizes and clear calorie information on the front of every can, bottle, and pack. We know when it comes to finding balance, the more choices, the better.
Listen, the older millennial in me wants to say, don't you dare touch my Harry Potter.
Wow.
Leave it alone. It's perfect.
Okay.
But
welcome to the Ankler Podcast. This is Sean McNulty of the Wake Up Newsletter here in New York City on Thursday, March 13th. On today's agenda, we're diving into the biggest theatrical IP in the industry and the strange place that Hollywood finds itself here in the middle of the 2020s that Richard and I noticed in our conversations over the past week or so, kind of spurred on by the big Amazon Bond news last week, where Hollywood is kind of at a place where pretty much all of the IP engines that have driven the financial success of the box office for the past, 25 years or so are either kind of coasting on fumes or wrapping up or in the midst of attempting a new era or just in the shop. Are the glory days indeed over for Marvel? Can DC finally happen in a meaningful way at WBD? Can Harry Potter pivot to TV? Can little baby Yoda revitalize Star Wars? A lot of questions. We have a lot of thoughts. Plus, later on, we'll look at bonuses. Oh, Richard, you shouldn't have. That's very generous of you. Oh, no, wait. They're for writers. What? All right, I guess.
Writer.
Right. No, Richard. I'm a writer. I can get a bonus.
They get a place to come and sit all day. What more do they want?
You want a chair, too? What do you want? You want a cushion? But yes, Elaine's going to share some good intel she has for us about those theoretical streaming TV bonuses that we talked so much about in the WGA negotiations way back in 2023. And Elaine Lowe loves nothing more than a good callback, so she's going to spill all the tea there. But first, as Amazon's film chief announced last weekend that Amazon MGM is going to likely put about 12 to 14 movies in theaters in 2026, which matches pretty much traditional Hollywood studio output at this point, but more movies in theaters in 2027. Sorry, Richard, I think just passed out for a second on his desk there. Richard, yes, more movies in theaters. I know. It's a brave new world there, thanks to our friends at Amazon. So
yeah, fantastic. We'll see what movies and what kind of releases and what kind of marketing support they get and all that. But
right.
Welcome aboard.
They're on the record. So let's start here with that home of James Bond now. It's always kind of been there, but now it's definitely under the Amazon umbrella. And of course, who better to have a James Bond conversation with than the Halle Berry and Pierce Brosnan of the Ankler, I'm told, Richard Rushfield and Elaine Lowe, who joined me from Los Angeles. Wait, what does that make me? My Jaws? What's going on here? I don't know.
Not the George Lazenby?
National Lampoon. I don't know.
George Lazenby. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Going deep in the archives. I'm the illegitimate one. I don't know. Jeez. I'm Sean Connery, so come on. This is, if anything, clearly. That's the way I roll.
But the order you did that in, I think that makes me Pierce Brosnan and
I kind of
Richard
swapped
Halle,
that
right?
around.
Yeah.
I got confused by the Pierce Brosnan reference.
I'm fine. I'll be Pierce.
Elaine's like, I have no problem with that. That's no problem. Yeah, all good. But let's dive in. We're going to take buy, sell, or hold positions on some various theatrical IP franchises, just as all of my beloved Wall Street analysts do for Hollywood studio stocks. We'll start, of course, with James Bond. Richard, you have I think this is a sell. Is that correct here?
Bond, it has been a struggle since the 70s to make James Bond fit in with the modern world. Like, it is a very anachronistic sort of outline to the whole thing. With Daniel Craig, they pretty much jettisoned the entire tone of the original Bond series and just did this new, intense, very serious...
Quantum of Solace was the first one, I think, right?
Casino Royale.
Oh, okay, right.
So now it will need another reinvention as coming after the Daniel Craig thing. And now that is in the hands, for the first time in Bond history, of Amazon and Jeff Bezos, who clearly is enjoying having this toy to play with. And I've always speculated that their whole reason for getting involved with this was that everyone would get to go to the set and ride around in the Aston Martin and do all these things. And you should not underrate the importance for tech bros of getting to play with James Bond, I think is so enormous, which is not augur well for a reinvention, along with the fact that Amazon does not have a great track record with these giant action tentpoles there. So nothing makes me think that a brilliant reinvention, which is a tricky thing to handle in the best of circumstances, is going to come out of this. There was a very short list of like kind of giant auteur directors who could take this over and impose their own vision. That list is pretty much Quentin Tarantino and Christopher Nolan is about as long as that list goes. That would be able to impose their vision and have the clout and the strength to tell.
Right.
You're really putting a Tarantino Bond out there in the universe, Richard.
Of course he is.
He's talked about that. So
yeah. I don't think he's going to do it, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think either. I think if either of them wanted to do it, they would have done it under Barbara Broccoli. Who I'm sure had conversations with them about it. And I don't think, and for Amazon having wrested this finally out of the hands of Barbara Broccoli, Christopher Nolan's first demand will be, and I don't want to hear from you people while I'm making this. Like I'm going to make what I want, and you can tell me how great it is after.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they just want to have it taken out of their hands again.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So you're selling. All right. I'm behold in the sense that, for me, it's like, who's the cast, and Richard, who's the director? I'm like, until I have any kind of sense of that, I'm a hold, but I will be a sell. If Amazon tries to jam in something else before the next movie, that I'm like, I'm selling at that point. I mean, that's just a sign of like, you don't get this at all. So that would be my caveat there.
I would bet any amount of money that they plan to do that they will do that.
All right. We gotta get a Kalshi market going. All right, Elaine, what are you on Bond?
I'm a hold. A cautious hold here. I think if you look at any franchise, Bond has been exceptionally good at reinvention. I think everybody, depending on how old you were when you saw your first Bond movie, like has a certain attachment to like, this is the Bond I grew up with.
Right.
And I can't think of really any other franchises where they've been able to reinvent it by recasting the main character that many times over. I mean, it's not like they've done that with Mission Impossible or something, right?
Yeah, every 15 years-ish. Craig's been in about it. About 15 years since, about mid-2000s to 2021 was the last one, Elaine. So, yeah, it's an interesting brand that way.
But I am cautious about its new corporate owners, so that's hence the whole.
You share Richard's side eye on that. All right, fair enough.
And I will say that the previous Bond didn't really reinvent him so much. They kind of just
modernized him,
tweaked the tone a little bit and the look of it. But until Daniel Craig, it was really the Timothy Dalton and Pierce Brosnan Bonds are pretty recognizable as the same thing that Sean Connery did
and Roger Moore to a degree too.
Yeah, Roger Moore very much and. With different looks and different tones, but Daniel Craig was the first one where they entirely did something different.
Yeah, I remember a lot of Bourne conversations or Bournifying. This is when Bourne was, certainly at the peak there. Yeah. So a lot of those conversations as the model there. So we shall see. No matter what, we won't be seeing whatever happens for quite a while. There's again no script, no director, no Bond. So we'll see. But we will be seeing a few movies from arguably Hollywood's two biggest franchises within the next few months. That of course being Marvel and DC, which are kind of maybe not flip sides to the same coin there, but kind of to a degree they're kind of in different sides of at least of the superhero universe. Richard, let's start with DC. Where are you at on DC right now?
So DC has been the kind of sad sack cautionary tale of the franchises since it began with Christopher Nolan doing the Batman movies,
right.
But has struggled to find its footing and gone in all kinds of directions, to the point where they have multiple people playing the same characters in different incarnations, and just has struggled for a vision. With James Gunn and Peter Safran, they have very competent hands. And a director who's arguably, apart from Christopher Nolan, the most successful at creating a new and unique world. And you hear him talk about it. He has what you don't see at Marvel, which is a real reason why this story should be told and why it's relevant to today's world. We will see. And maybe a lot of people have good reasons and justifications for a movie that doesn't come together on the screen, but it's a very compelling rationale for why they're doing this at a time when you can't just assume that the audience is dying for another superhero movie.
Yeah. So you're buying the stock. Is that where you're not here?
Yes, DC is a buy for me. It's a risk. It might crash and burn on.
But this is like a buy low, sell high situation for you. If in success,
Okay. Yeah, things were low now, so yes, you're buying the shares.
I think it's very depressed, and the upside is quite possible and very big.
All right,
Richard. All right, unexpected.
Yeah, well, he's a gambler. Listen, Richard, going out there, putting it all on the line there. I'm being a little more conservative on this. I'm putting it on a hold. I'm waiting until July 12th, man. I'm like, all right.
And well, then the price will be too high. You won't be able to afford to buy it.
Well, you're right. You're right. No, listen, you are. This is how stocks work. Exactly right. I mean, this has to land. I mean, whatever other plans that Gunn and Safran have, I don't care what they are. If this doesn't do very, very well, I mean, if this does 500 million global, that's not great. I mean, this needs to do 800. A billion would be great. Like, this needs a huge shot of success, because like everything else after it, the Batman aside, which did about 800 million 2 years ago, but everything else, their plans for these other characters, I'm like, it's all moot if this thing doesn't do that stratosphere. So
this is a risky bet for my portfolio.
This is your riskiest bet, Richard. Yeah.
And I remember a couple of years ago when the talk was the Flash film was incredible, and everybody who has seen it was
Zaz's favorite movie at CinemaCon. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
See, I got burned by that. I got burned by Zaz's comment.
I don't find anything at CinemaCon this year.
I was at
CinemaCon. You were there, Richard. Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't go to the screening of it, but everybody who came out was like in tears and telling me how beautiful it was. And
the hype is a powerful thing. Yeah.
And I actually thought it was a good movie. So I'll say it, but
I liked it well enough. I bought into the hype though.
All right.
And it did not materialize. And I've not been emotionally invested in DC since Chris Nolan's Batman movies, and that is far too long ago for me.
All right, are you a sell then, Elaine? What do you got?
It is a sell for me. For those reasons, it is a sell. The bar is too high. We are across
the board here. All right.
And I was burned, so this stock is not in my portfolio right now, but I would love to be proven wrong. I would love to be proven wrong.
All right, I like the pull-out enthusiasm. All right, well, let's head over to Marvel then, which this is kind of a little all over the place. You have Deadpool doing nearly $1.4 billion in its third installment, but Deadpool kind of exists in its own world. I mean, as Captain America and Kraven the Hunter showed, there was no goodwill overflow whatsoever there. Out of that, we got Thunderbolts kicking off summer in early May, and a third time's a charm attempt with the Fantastic Four later in the summer, and of course the Avengers looming in 2026 and 2027. Richard, where are you at on Marvel?
I mean, we've been waiting for Marvel to reinvent itself and to reinvigorate itself for, what has it been since Avengers Endgame? 6 years now?
2019. So yeah, we're going on that.
Yeah, since May of 2019.
We're 6 years into the Marvel reinvention process, and this was the most successful franchise of maybe any franchise in film history. So it's earned itself a lot of runway to do that. But if I'm putting my money down today, I need a little more evidence. That's kind of the Thunderbolts marketing. They're trying to make it look like an A24 movie or something. It's like this edgy.
I don't know if that was my takeaway on it, but
I mean, they're definitely going very edgy.
Yeah, I feel it feels more Deadpool like Galaxy, Guardians of the Galaxy, which I think is smart. I think
I don't know how you get A24 vibes off of this movie poster.
I guess just
Richard.
Not Captain America vibes. Maybe Elaine would be the maybe
fair.
Yeah.
But the question I have, like the marketing skews that way, but then you see the scenes from the film and you wonder, like, is it actually just another Marvel movie with the same tone? And I think that's going to backfire badly if that's the case.
If that's the case, yeah. So you want to see what the summer plays out, I think, is probably where your head's at now, Richard, I guess.
So superhero fatigue is a real thing. You can no longer count on people just showing up to it. And I look at something like the Fantastic Four and I'm like, okay, that looks like a very solid superhero movie. Is very solid good enough anymore?
We're going to find out. I'm a hold on that too, but Elaine, you're the more Marvel inclined person here. So where are you at on this, your beloved franchise here?
I want to say bye, but I'm a hold here. I think there's been too much Marvel since Endgame. And I loved the original, 8 phases of the MCU, right? Since
you would know more than I, Elaine. So yeah, I'm not going to
I was on board for the 10 to 15 years leading into Endgame.
Right.
But there's just been so much of it since then, and I don't feel like it's hit. And I think there's also been a lack of scarcity of Marvel that has made each one special. And there have been some special ones on the TV side, like WandaVision, Agatha All Along. I loved those.
Yeah.
But the sheer volume, I feel like you have to consume before you can go see the next movie in theaters. It's starting to feel a little bit like homework.
Yeah, and that's why I think that Thunderbolts doesn't have any of this stuff, which is why I'm optimistic about it. I'm like, this feels like something, and I don't watch any of this Marvel stuff, and I feel like, oh, I could go to this movie and probably have a good time. So that's my one reason of optimism on that movie. But Richard, you're right. It isn't the execution. Is the marketing supporting the movie that they made, or is this another endeavor altogether? So let's move on to Harry Potter, of course, which is going away from theatrical to TV over there at the HBO with the late 2026, early 2027 timelines. Certainly cast up a little bit. Some news dropping about that lately. Richard, you're optimistic on this. I'm in on this. I think I trust Casey on this. I think the source material is good quality material. It's not like you're remaking 50 Shades of Grey here or something like that. So I'm optimistic. What is your take on Harry Potter going to TV?
Yeah, I mean, if you walk into an elementary school or a Walmart, the strength of Harry Potter and of that series has not abated for 30 is if anything stronger than, I mean, look at the number of different sections at a Walmart or a Target that are dominated by Harry Potter products. It's clothes, toys, books, it's everywhere. And I think the original films, it's been a long time now, and because they were forced to abbreviate these sprawling 800-page books into 2-hour movies, they left a lot on the table, in terms of the growth of these kids and the sort of coming-of-age story.
And certain scenes and things that just weren't made in the movie. Like, you just want to see, things that just weren't there. So there's that element,
There's whole characters that didn't make it in the movie. So I just think a series is the right place for it, is a better way to tell the story. And if execution is everything.
Of course. But HBO and good team there. And
casting is everything.
True.
But if they get it right, I think the upside is huge here.
All right. Elaine, you in with us, or what do you got?
Listen, the older millennial in me wants to say, don't you dare touch my Harry Potter.
Wow.
Leave it alone. It's perfect.
Okay. But
I will say that when we have watched the movies, I have 2 kids in elementary school and we were reading the books. And as we're watching each movie, I get the complaint of but this thing didn't happen in the movie and that thing didn't happen.
Okay.
And they're like, we wish we could have seen X, Y, and Z. So there's absolutely a market for seeing every single thing play out. Because if you read the books, some of them literally, you'll get through the first 300 pages and they haven't even arrived at school yet. It's just all the stuff that's happening to Harry before the school year has even started.
I'm hearing a lot of buys here, people. I have 2 votes, two viewers right here, there, Max. So just get that series going and deliver a nice quality product, and we'll be there for 10 years. That's a 10-season endeavor. So that's a long part of the HBO and Max business plan. When we get back, we'll dive in a little bit of Star Wars and which old franchises we think are due for a revival. Plus, we'll look at which streaming successes of 2024 actually paid revenue bonuses to their writers. All that and more right after this.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
You've maxed out your 401k, you're contributing to an IRA, and making some other investments. You're ahead of the game and doing well. But where do you go from here? The same old story can only get you so far. If you want a new take from a new type of financial professional, we invite you to get a fresh perspective beside an agent with the backing of New York Life. Insurance, investments, retirement, and more. Visit NYL.com to learn more. Investments are offered through registered representatives of NYLife Securities, LLC. Member FINRA SIPC, a New York Life company.
All right, welcome back to the Ankler Podcast. I see Richard has put on his Chewbacca outfit, which means Star Wars must be up next on the list here. Elaine sadly did not do the Princess Leia buns. Elaine, I mean, really, come on.
Sorry to disappoint.
Disappointing so much. But
I got to find my Yoda ears.
Yoda ears, I love it. Richard, Star Wars, of course, has been a lot in the news lately, more for the leadership of the franchise. But where are you at on the health of the Star Wars?
I think it's a depressed stock right now because it's been out of the theaters for a long time now. Would have been 6 years since the last movie.
2019. Yep.
6 years out of the theaters, and you can get caught up in all the rumors of who's come and go from making a movie. And the TV shows have had a mixed record, but with that mix is some very good ones.
Yeah.
And I feel like the TV shows have not diminished the power of the world; that they've actually expanded it and made it bigger in a way that's organic. It doesn't feel like it's been overmined. And you have, working on movies, you have a really, you have kind of a murderer's row of directors. You have Jon Favreau, Taika, how do you say Taika?
Taika Waititi.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Sean Levy, and James Mangold, all working on Star Wars projects, and that's a really solid bench of people to be reimagining this and not just phoning in another installment in the Skywalker Chronicles.
All right, so you're a buy here on the Star Wars?
Yeah. I feel like they're in a good place for the next thing, and I think the time off we will see serve them well.
Yeah, the Mandalorian and Grogu pick is up next from Jon Favreau. Again, I haven't seen anything on it, obviously, but, I think that will land next summer. But, again, the pause was probably not intended, but to grow the Star Wars franchise again in the late 2020s and have been away for, at that point, a good 8 years or so from the theatrical realm. There's nothing wrong with the pause. I think it's very healthy, and make you miss something. They'll be much more, appreciative when it comes back. So I'm a buy, Elaine.
Yeah, I think there was a point up until a couple of years ago where we were borderline oversaturation on Star Wars in the same vein as Marvel, but we've had enough of a break since then, and the TV series have been nice and grounded.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Mandalorian, Andor's done well.
Yeah.
I would never, ever bet against Star Wars. So it's a buy for me, especially not with Baby Yoda coming up next summer.
I mean, come on, Baby Grogu going on. Yeah, no, but it's like one of the most theatrical, experiences of all of these franchises that are out there. It's kind of made for the movie theater. So I think
that's the kind of movie where you're going to get lots of people dressed up to see the movie, like highest percentage.
Yeah, and the low family alone. So, right there. So that would
exactly. I've got all the costumes ready. Come on.
All right.
I mean, it's a franchise that invented fandom.
Yeah, right, exactly. If you want to bring it back, exactly right. All right, let's round out our IP conversation here with a look ahead. Each of us gets green light power to bring back one dormant IP franchise. You have power to bring back a franchise that has been dormant for however long you want to do it. So more green light power than usual, Richard. I'm sorry for you. I know you have a lot of that banked up as usual. So what do you want to bring back? Richard, we'll start with you. What do you got?
All right, I am ordering a modern telling of Smokey and the Bandit.
Nice. Love it.
Obviously, Burt Reynolds' charm is not easy to replicate.
Sure.
But, sort of an anti-establishment hero, he's fighting against Smokey is the
right.
is the thing there. I think it's a good sort of low-tech, go to CB radios.
Right. Bring that back. Sure. Let's do it.
Pre-digital anti-establishment hero that is ripe for our times.
Okay. Very good. Elaine, what do you got coming back? I'm seconding Richard's vote too. I think that's a great idea. And I think in the right hands, that could be a lot of fun. Great cameos. That's franchise known for great cameos. You can have a lot of fun with that, bringing that back.
Speaking of great cameos, I'm sure. What studio is that?
I think it's Warner's, but I'll check on that. But yeah, okay. Well.
If they're listening,
exactly. Whoever owns the rights, go. Please, all the library, troving that's been going on in Hollywood for the past year, somebody knows who owns this thing. So, exactly. All right, Elaine, what do you got?
I don't know if it's been dormant long enough to call for a revival, but I will watch as many Ocean's 11 movies as anyone will make.
I think that's coming. Yeah, I think they are doing.
It is? Are they bringing it back?
There's work being done. I don't know exactly where it's at. Yeah.
Because the last one was Ocean's 8 back in 2019.
8,
It's been like 6 years since we've had an Ocean's movie.
Okay.
I will watch it. Get with or without Brad Pitt and George Clooney. I like the Gals Night one and Ocean's 8. I don't know, do one with kids. I don't know. Like, I'll watch it. Like, heist movies are the best. They're just so much fun.
They are indeed. All right, but I think your dreams might come true on that one, Elaine. So don't quote me on that. But and it's Universal Pictures on Smokey and the Bandit, Richard. So give Donna Langley a call on that one. But
all right,
I'm gonna go. I don't think this is gonna happen, but I think Austin Powers would be fun to bring back. I don't think Myers is gonna do it, but the fun thing is, like, look, Austin Powers was made in the 90s, went back to the 60s, right? We are now in a 30-year period to go back to the 90s. And I'm like, the 90s are kind of hot again. And I'm like, all right, this would be fun to just go to a different era. Daughter of Austin Powers, whatever you want to do. Mike can still be in it. Like, you could go back to the 90s and you could see old Mike Myers in the 90s. Like, you could actually play back the time travel stuff and some fun jokes. So I don't know. That's what I think you could have some fun with.
How do you do an Austin Powers in 2025 though? Like, I think that some of that did not age well.
Depending upon the crowd, but but you're going back to the 90s now. So you're going back to a different era of PCdom or whatever, things that you're, maybe poking fun at norms or things along those lines, which some of the stuff in the 90s did not age well either. So I don't know. I think you could have some smart fun with that franchise. So that's.
If I could do one more, I think we should do more Muppets movies.
Oh, interesting. Oh, yeah.
It's been like 11 years since
Jason
the Muppets
Segel
movie.
tried that. Yeah.
Since the last one?
Yeah, it's like 2014, I think, right? The Jason Segel
At
one?
least it seems like, yeah.
It's been at least a decade.
Yeah, they kind of not gave up on it.
I guess they did a TV show.
Yeah, they've done some property. Yeah, they had a Disney Plus show not that long ago. But yeah, Elaine, all right, I got it. Okay, Jason Segel, give it another shot. You have Elaine in your corner, so. All right. Well, Harry Potter is certainly quite a few years off, Elaine, in the series side, but let's look at some fresh intel from 2024. Just a reminder, following the 2023 strikes, the new WGA contract laid the foundation for a new type of payout for industry writers, performance-based streaming bonuses. And Elaine, we really haven't heard, that was back in 2023 that deal was signed. I can't say I've heard too much about this. We've had a whole full year of TV series on streaming, but you found out some information. What's going on?
Yeah, so one of the big wins from the writers and actors strike was this performance-based streaming bonus, which it was designed to make up for the changes to the business where writers and actors felt like they'd been left behind, when a streaming show would be a big hit. They weren't seeing any of the upside.
Right.
So with this clause in the new contracts, both from the WGA and SAG-AFTRA, basically they get an extra payout if a show catches on with more than 20% of a streamer's viewers in the first 90 days on the platform. But like you said, it's been a little while. It's been kind of quiet.
Yeah.
Like SAG-AFTRA had said it expected up to $40 million in bonus money a year.
Okay.
For the writers, these bonuses are like $9,000 for half-hour episodes, over $16,000 for hour-longs. But yeah, total mystery as to whether any of these shows had received it yet. But I got my mitts on this list with the first batch of shows that made it in Q1 and Q2 of 2024.
Okay.
And I can tell you that writers on 5 TV series have so far gotten their streaming bonuses, and I wanted to see if you guys could guess what those were.
All right.
Which platforms, which shows.
Okay. One I'm confident it would be Bridgerton.
Well, yes.
Okay.
That was also the lead art on my story. So if you even took a glancing look at my story, but yes, that's obvious one.
Okay.
Yes,
After
for
that,
sure.
I'm out. Richard, I'm going to pass the baton to Richard now. So.
Are they all scripted?
Yeah.
Yes, these are all US based scripted English language shows that premiered after January 1st of 2024. And this covers essentially the first half of that year, first calendar half.
Yeah.
Does that include Wednesday, or is that
That's 23 that launched, I think. Yeah.
Does not include Wednesday.
No.
The Night Guard?
You mean The Night Agent?
The Night Agent, yes.
No,
Good
The Night
guess,
Agent
though.
was not one of those.
The Night Guard is a thing.
Your mouth to keep your teeth straight.
Retainer,
Yes.
yeah.
Right.
Very big with the Oral B crowd.
That's coming
That
in
one.
2026 on Netflix, Richard. I think you got to wait a little while. It's about a dentist too. No, anyway.
There are a number of Netflix shows on there. I'll tell you that much. Out of the 5.
Trying to think. Oh boy. Does Max have a show?
No, Max is not on that list. Not for the writers.
Peacock have a show?
Peacock does have a show. Can you guess which show it is on Peacock? I was surprised that a Peacock show made it.
Ted.
Yes, very good.
All right.
It's their most watched original series.
It came in January of last year. I was watching the football promotion and all that stuff. Yeah. Okay, got it.
And there's
All right.
also kind of a lower bar to clear, right? Like when you're looking at 20% of a streamer's viewers, that's out of 36 mil. Like you're looking to clear 7 mil.
Right.
in the first
Pretty
90
good,
days,
though.
which it did.
Yeah.
And it was hugely popular. So yeah, that's
All
the
right.
one Peacock show. Very good.
All
What
right.
else?
Are there the 3 Netflix or?
There are 2 more Netflix
Okay.
series on there. There were 3 Netflix
All right.
series, 1 Peacock, and 1 from Amazon. The Amazon one, I'll tell you, is based on a video game. That should make it easy to guess.
Oh, Fallout.
Mm-hmm.
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. All right.
It's something like
So-
65 million viewers on Amazon in its first 16 days on the platform.
Okay. All right. So we're missing 2
Missing
Netflix shows.
2.
All right.
The other 2 Netflix shows.
I gotta start watching Netflix, guys. I don't know. Well,
Everybody else is.
Apparently, yeah, it's very much so. They don't need my viewers.
You got me stumped here.
Yeah, what are the
All
other
right.
2, Elaine? What do you got?
Okay, well, the last 2 are Avatar, The Last Airbender, and the limited
Oh.
series Griselda.
Oh,
Yeah, which was a
interesting.
surprise to me. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Those,
okay.
those,
Didn't
all,
know it
those
did
were the
that
5.
well.
Bridgerton, Avatar, Griselda, Fallout, and Ted.
Okay.
So those are the shows that have paid out bonuses.
How did I miss Griselda?
Yeah, and Richard, I know. Yeah, exactly.
And then SAG-AFTRA told me that actors have received payouts on platforms such as Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, and Paramount Plus. So that one is a little bit of a question mark for me because I was like, what would have paid out the actors but not the writers unless it was an animated show? Because then those writers are tagged, they're Animation Guild and not WGA. I don't know.
Right.
Or is it just like there's a lag in the payment schedule? I don't know.
All right. Coming soon on Serious Business. There you go. Elaine's going to get to the bottom of it. There you go. And of course, before we wrap up this week, look up this weekend's box office. Richard, no IP in sight. We're very off-brand for this podcast, which, everybody's complaining that Hollywood doesn't make original movies anymore. Better show up to the multiplex this weekend, people. All right, we have 2 pretty well-reviewed new movies, an action comedy from Paramount starring Jack Quaid called Novocaine and a spy thriller from Steven Soderbergh. And the folks at Focus, that one's called Black Bag, with 2 of our finest acting talent out there today in Kate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender. It's been getting very good reviews. So put up or shut up, America. You want original movies? Hollywood's giving them to you this weekend. So
yeah, this is what we've been asking for. so.
Exactly. You can also, just a note, check out other, Richard and I dove into other franchises if you want to get our thoughts there over at theankler.com. From John Wick to Bourne, Jurassic Park, Spider-Man, Bad Boys, and a bunch of other ones. We put our buy, sell, hold ratings on those. You can check those out over at the website. That's all for this week's Ankler podcast. Go to theankler.com to, of course, sign up for all newsletters and podcasts here at The Ankler. Just enter the old email address and good to go. Follow on the socials at The Ankler on your favorite social platforms. Richard and Elaine, always a pleasure. And, of course, a big thanks to you for listening. As always, we'll see you next week.